What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to the Collective Clips, where you guys already know we toss. We toss a lot over here. The other channel, we toss a little bit, but over here, we're just fucking constantly tossing. We toss it up. West, right? We toss it up. Let's toss up this intro, though. Remix. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, what are you doing? Go ahead and hit that button. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that the gun stays kicking. And I appreciate all the support, man. I'm very humbled by it. Thank you. So I wanted to give you guys a whole new super. A brother got at me. He was like, man, we don't, the essays get the supers and even the woods get the supers, brother. The Paisas get the supers. The natives get the supers. The Asians get the supers. When's the brother going to get a super? Well, I got you. Super Kumi right here, straight out of Merced. Wasn't really no Kumi, but ran with the Kumies. Kind of flabbergasted me. And this is episode 1 of Super Kumi. My boy, Smoke a Bodine. He said, I said, what are you doing, Bodine? Why are you at Jack in the Box? You ain't got no money. He said, man, I'm just sipping wine and smoking crack cocaine. I said, oh, man, if you don't stop it. But he really was sipping wine. The crack, he didn't have money for that. Now, look. This dude I've known for years, man. He's from Merced. He's been from the Central Valley forever. He's originally from Oakland, but he moved to Merced like well before I was in the mix. So this was a skinny old brother, man, with a big old fro, man. Hey, had a motherfucking Diamondback performer and was out there doing his thing. Hey, he was one of those dudes. I liked him because when I was in the mix and doing my D-boy thing, you can give him 100 back, he'll bring you 200. Like, he was good. This motherfucker was on his shit. He'd be all, brother, hook me up with another 100, right? He was just about his shit, but he was a good homie, man. Back to my play in a couple situations. We're going to get to those in different episodes. But trip out on this. So I'm doing a violation in Tracy prison, right? I'm still active. I'm still in the mix. And so back in these days, man, there wasn't too much lockdown situations going on at this time. So we used to go to the chow hall. Now, if you've ever been to Tracy DVI, Gladiator School, right? When it was open, it was the Northern California reception for the Valley. Stockton all the way to San Bartolomé and Tulare County would go to Tracy, right? But us, Merced, being in the heart of everything, that was hands down our environment. That was hands down our area, man. And we were hella deep. Merced County was very deep. Stanislaus County, San Joaquin County, very deep in Tracy at all times, right? And so I'm there, and we go to the chow hall, and the way they do is they have these long corridors. So you come out of your building. I was in J Wing. I'd come out, bust a right, bust a left, walk down the hallways, man, and they'd have these long lines of people coming from different wings, and they'd be going back and forth. And you got cops, COs all through the area, and they're monitoring. And there's a lot of shit that kicks off in those areas, but most things that kicked off in Tracy either happened in the chow hall or they happened out in the yard. Yard recall was like everybody was on point. When they do yard recall, that buzzer for yard recall, homie, you better be on point. You better be on point enough against, because if you wasn't, you were probably going to get whacked. Like, it was happening right there. As soon as all the compas would start lining up to go back to your building, that's when something would crack off all the time. It happened almost every yard. Like, yard in Tracy, I've been to Tracy 6 times, and I went to yard like 3 times. Like, serious. And it cracked off every time. There was always something going down. Anyways, this day it was breakfast time, man. And they had bomb cinnamon rolls there. Anyone who's ever been in Tracy, the cinnamon roll was about that big. It was so big, it filled your whole tray up. And everybody liked it because they'd give you a little scoop of peanut butter. They'd give you your cinnamon rolls, a little oatmeal. That was a recipe for fantastic, right? That was probably the best meal you were going to ever get at Tracy Prison. Hey, people always talk about the dirty ass water, the fucked up ass broken windows in the back of your cell, the dirtiness of the cells, the bomb ass cinnamon rolls. Out of all that misery came one good thing, right? So it was cinnamon roll day. And as people are coming out, you're hitting them up like, hey, what's for breakfast? Because you don't know, right? You don't get like a menu that tells you what we're going to have that day or anything, right? So as people are walking by, you're hitting them up like, hey, bro, what's for breakfast? You see the homies from different buildings. They're like, cinnamon roll day. You're like, oh, hell yeah. So when you walk in, it's a long line, and you go all the way. You're all in line waiting for you to get your trays, and then you bust a right, and then you can go sit at your tables, whatever tables you want to sit at. They didn't have assigned seating at this time. So, of course, everyone segregated themselves. Now, at this particular time, Southsiders were segregated from Northerners because it was on site at reception. So the Southsiders, I believe, were in East Hall and West Hall at that time, which are 2 separate whole buildings. H Wing, J Wing, Those were GP, general population. I think J lower was SNY or non-active, and then you had, of course, X dorm, Z dorm, which was mainline. They were like level 2s, and then you had K wing, which was the whole, right? So I was on J, and then they had East Hall, West Hall, right? And so that, I believe at the time was East Hall, yeah, West Hall was a Southsiders. Anyways, so we're going, and a brother had just got there like the week before, and I recognized him, and I was like, damn, who is he, right? But he was running with the Kumies. Now, there would be some Kumi cats. Now, for those of you that don't know what Kumi is, it means 415, which is the old area code for San Francisco, the East Bay, the Bay Area right there, right? And 415, they made Kumies. Now, Kumies are an extension of the Black Gorilla family, man. They Kumies just did their own thing. They're brothers from the Bay Area they're not Crips, they're not Bloods. They got their own thing going on. The Bay's like that. Now, in the California system, you'll see a lot of the Kumies that real run tight with the Bloods. Not all the time, but they're allies in most areas, right? Most prisons. But they're doing their own thing. A lot of people don't care for the Kumies because the Kumies are a little wild. They're a little rambunctious. There are a lot of youngsters from the Bay, and they're loud, and they don't give a fuck, right? They're ready to get off at any point in time. In fact, when it comes to a lot of people that think that the brothers and the Norteños run together, furthest from the truth. It seems like the Norteños and the Kumies were always getting into it. Now, the NCs, the Northern Crips, and the Northerners were pretty good, right? Even some of the LA Crips and the Bloods were pretty good with the Norteños, especially the Bloods from like Sac and shit. They were cool, right? The Zillas, the whoever, Del Paso Heights, all them cats, they're solid as fuck. Like, I ain't never met a dude from Del Paso Heights that wasn't with the business. Facts, right? But the Kumies were just a little bit out of the ordinary. When they used to do their shutdown, they used to yell, "Yay, area!" And you already knew it was a gang of cats going to scream out, and it was wild. So anyways, I'm looking, and I tell my celly, man, he was a homeboy from Sunnyvale, Cisco, and I'm like, damn, bro, I know that Africano right there. I know him. And he was, who? And he looks, and he's like, oh, that's an old skinny cat. I see, yeah, but I know him, bro. I think he's from Merced. So when we're going to chow, the next time we're going to chow, I see him, and he looks a little different, looks a little healthier, right? And I'm like, and he looks at me, he said, 14, right? He used to call me 14. All the brothers in Merced called me 14 because I had a 14 over my eye, right? He was like, what's up, 14? So I knew he was from the town. He had to know he was from Merced, right? So I look, he says, Bodine. I said, smoke a Bodine. Sipping wine and smoking crack cocaine. He said, hey, what's up, my brother, right? Now, he was doing bad out on the streets. Like, he was in the mix. He was getting high. But now he's looking healthier. He's been in the county fighting this case. He was doing a few years, right? So I'm like, get up here, brother, right? So he jumps in. I'm like, I tell the homeboy, my celly, I was like, oh, that's my boy. So I'm like, what's up, bro? He's like, woo, woo. And I said, who you run with, bro? Right? Because I know he wasn't a Crip or He was nothing like that. He was just a regular brother, right? He said, oh, I'm running with my folks, with my Kumies. I saw, you're a Kumi? I said, motherfucker, you from Merced. You're from the West. Stop it, right? He said, nah. You know, I'm originally from Oakland, so I run Kumi when I'm locked up. I said, all right, that's cool. Shit, right? Whatever. And so we're walking, bam, we're going to the chow. Now, he speeds up to go ahead of me because there's some Kumi cats right there. They're all looking back at me, and I'm like, what's up, right? My celly's like, what's up? A couple other Northerners from Stockton that I'm rocking with, right? We're all in the line. So as the homeboy, there's a homeboy from Hayward walking by, and the homeboy from Sunnyvale hits him up, like, hey, what's for breakfast, eh? He's like, he's coming from H-Wing. He's like, cinnamon rolls. We're like, oh, hell yeah. It's the best meal. The Grand Slam and the cinnamon rolls. And that's it. Everything else is unidentified fucking eating objects. So as we were in this line, right, I see Bodine, and he's like way ahead of me now, right? And he gets his tray, and he goes and sits down. So I go to sit down. Boom, right? Now, where the table where I sat is all Northerners. There's like 3 tables, all Northerners. And then there's NCs, which are Northern Crips. And there's 3 dudes. They were from Townhome, Stockton. And one dude, I forget where he was from, what city, but he was an NC too. These are Northern Crips. And the reason why there's a difference, because there's a difference between LA Crips and NCs. Now, in prison, all the Crips are going to run together. But sometimes there's been like a little bit of conflict with the LA Crips, man. They be calling everyone off-brand. Like, if you ain't from LA or San Diego or from Southern California, they figure all the Crips from Northern California, most of them are off-brand, right? Even though those Northern California Crips will get in your ass, right? It's just the way it is. So we're real cool with the NCs. I'm bullshitting with them. We're eating, right? And all of a sudden, I see Bodine get up with his tray, right? And he puts it to the side, and he takes off running. This is like a tactic everyone would do, like on hamburger day, taco day, like days that it was like good, decent food. They'll try to run and get back in line when the cop turns their head, because you got 2 cops that are right there at the door, and they're trying to monitor who's coming in and out. You got a cop at the other door who's monitoring you when you guys are leaving. And then you got one cop that stands in the corner. He's watching the fucking food. And then you got the free staff, and they're watching the food, making sure you're not stealing anything, because people be passing off extras, on the tray. Everyone's trying to, hey, prison's one big hustle, and everyone's trying to hustle, right? But one of the old school hustles would be to run and get back in line. Now, Northenians were not allowed to do that. We told the homies already, like, hey, bro, don't be doing that fucking tweaker, fucking crackhead bullshit, right? The Kumi brothers, they were known to do that. They'll just get up and just, they're gone, right? They don't give a fuck. They're not answering to no one but themselves, man. If they can get an extra tray, why not? Everybody wants an extra cinnamon roll. So Bodine gets up and he runs, and he just slides under this railing, and he cuts in front of this NC, this Crip. Now, the Crip at first ain't really tripping because he knows what time it is, and it's like snitching if you get all loud, right? So Bodine gets his little extra tray, and he goes and sits down in his area, the same area. He just stacks his tray on top of the other one. But they scraped his tray, and he just, boom. So he has the double up, right? And this Crip walks by, and he's going to go sit with the Crips that I'm sitting right next to, right? So Bodine's back here, like right more towards like where they're serving. And fucking the Crips are right. We're like in the middle, right? And as the Crip walks by, he says something to Bodine, basically like, hey, don't be cutting in front of me, or whatever he said, right? And Bodine's like, man, it's Kumi. This Kumi, we don't give a fuck, right? Now, there hadn't been no beef between the Crips and Kumies. Now, traditionally in the prisons, brothers are really not really beefing like that, but they do have their own cars, and they will get off on each other, right? And the NC was no Jay, was a big old dude too, right? And he looked back at him. He's like, all right, I got you on the way back. He's already like, well, I'll catch you on the way out, right? Bodie's like, man, fuck you, man. This Kumi, right? He was milking the Kumi cats, and I'm like, damn, right? So I tell the Crips, right? Even though Bodie's the homie, I tell the Crips, I was like, what's up? And I said, I know that dude, bro. He's from Merced. He said, nah, that dude's from, he's claiming Oakland. I said, no, I know that. And I run him down real quick, the situation. Like, I know him from the streets, bro. He ain't really nothing like that. And he's like, yeah, well, he about to be really nothing because I'm going to dust him as soon as we come up out of here. So I feel like obligated to tell the homie, right? And so he's like right there. I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to get up when he gets up to go throw my tray, right? Because the cops, like, they're by tables. They're telling you to go. So Bodine gets up. So I get up and I'm behind him. I'm like, hey, man, watch your back, bro. He's like, I ain't tripping off blood, right? I ain't tripping off blood. And I was like, I'm telling you right now, that big old Crip's going to knock your shit off. Well, the Crips get behind us. It's me and my celly. Here's Bodine in front, right? Because my celly tells me, hey, they're going to move on him, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's get up out the way because this ain't our business. And I said, yeah. And I already gave him the heads up. So I felt like, hey, I did all I had to do, right? Man, this motherfucker Bodine was different. So anyways, right? The Crips are behind. We're walking out, right? And my celly tells me it's about to go down. So he's like, move to the opposite. So you're going this way, back to the compa, and people that are coming to shower on the other side, opposite of us. We're on the opposite side of the chow hall side, right? Because when you come out, you got to walk on that side of the wall. So people are passing each other. And so as we're walking, Bodine decides to slide into the line that's going this way. And as he does, the Crips are like, fuck it. They bust a U-turn too. We just stop because we already know what's going on. They just start getting off on him. This motherfucker Bodine, bro, let me tell you, in life, you can't beat up a J-Cat and you can never knock out a crackhead. And that's real. This motherfucker Bodine slept the first Crip. Boop. See you later, cuz. Right? Oh, Crip! He was gone, right? And he's fighting the big one, the one that he initially disrespected. They're chunking him, and Bodine's catching him. Boop, boop. The dude, all right, so Bodine had a fro. Dude's trying to grab his fro, but I guess he had some good, whatever he had some of that soul glow in his shit, right? His shit was slippery. Man, he grabbed that dude's cornrows from the back and just had him pilt up. He's just uppercutting him. A couple other Kumi cats are right there. They just start jumping in, right? So now it's like Crips versus Kumies. I'm like, oh, shit, the brothers are getting off. Everyone down. We're down, right? Boom, they take us back to our buildings. They take whoever to K-Wing or whatever they're doing. We're gone already. They take us back, right? So I don't see Bodine anymore. I don't see Bodine. There's an NC that's down the tier. He's a tier tender, right? He comes up to the cell. He's like, hey, man. He's like, the homies are tripping, right? We're at it with the Crips right now. And every time Crips would go by, they're talking shit with the Kumi cats and whatever, right? And he's a Crip dude. He's like, hey, bro, did you give a heads up to that dude or something? I said, nah, I just told him, bro. You know what I'm saying? That was a stupid move that he did. Even though I did, I'm not putting it out there because, hey, the Northenians, if we're disrespect, we're just going to get off. We're trying to catch your body over there, right? So I'm just like, nah. And he was like, yeah, all right, bro. Yeah, because motherfuckers are saying they seen you talking to him. I said, yeah, I know him from the streets, bro. I know that dude personally. He's a friend of mine. But it is what it is. They're like, all right, cool. All right, no big deal, right? And I'm thinking, so my celly shoots a wheel out down to the homies like, hey, watch out for the tripa. They might be tripping. You know what I mean? The NCs. And so anyways, we go to yard. And none of the Kumies go to yard. None of them, right? And there's like 20 of them in the building. None of them go to the yard. And I'm tripping, right? So what happens is, as we're going by and I'm seeing them not coming out of the yard, the cops don't play that in Tracy. They make yard mandatory. If they feel like something's going to go down, they just fucking let it go down. So all of a sudden, the sergeant goes up there and he's asking the Kumies. I could hear him as we're walking down we're on the second tier. We could hear him telling people like, "Hey, you guys got to go." So fuck it, they all got to come out. Well, the Crips was waiting on them, right? The Crips they were walking the track in big old groups. There was probably like maybe about 30, 40 NCs. Like they were deep, and LA Crips, whatever was there. Dudes that are like from LA that got caught up in Northern California, they were there. And these Kumies came out, man, and then they started having a little meeting, right? And they figured it out. The Kumies figured it out that Bodine shouldn't have did what he did, and it was their bad. And so whatever, man, there was no beef. The Crips was like, man, we're gonna let pass. Oh, boys in the hole. It is what it is. Our boys, you know what I'm saying? He got him, but whatever. He's on side. If we see him, we're gonna fuck him up. They're like, all right, cool, whatever. Kumies they didn't want that smoke with the Crips because it wasn't that serious over one dude that was a dopey, basically, right? So like a year past, I end up going to do my violation. I get out, right? And I run into Bodine. And I tell him, hey, bro, what happened? He's like, man, I don't give a fuck, man. He said, that motherfuckers are hating because I got me an extra cinema roll. That's what it's all about. I said, nah, bro, it's because you cut in front of him. He's like, man, I don't give a fuck about none of that, right? Just about that time, Ricky, this was the first car that Ricky ever had, man. He had a Regal. It was fucked up. No, he had a Honda before that. Excuse me. He had a Honda with the little B. He thought he was bad. But this one was like his first like low rider. It had McLean's on it. It was fucking beat up from the feet up. But it was his shit. And he pulls up on me. He's like, whooping, look at my new car. Look at my new car. I'm like, that's right. And I'm talking to Bodine. And I was in a Mustang. I was with this chick. She had a Mustang. She used to let me cruise it around everywhere. I used to tell everyone it was mine and shit. And Bodine's on his bike. I don't know how he got his bike back, where he stashed it during this time in prison, but he's back, right? And I'm bullshitting. And my cousin pulls up, and Bodine's like, hey, man, y'all motherfuckers should give me a ride. Y'all got cars and shit. Give me a ride, right? So I'm like, where you going? He's like, I got to go to Stockton, man. He's like, I know some people in Stockton. They're going to hook me up. I'll hook you up. I'm like, every time I go to Stockton, I'm getting gas money, crack, whatever, right? Everyone's always hooking me up. He's like, nah, for reals, man. I got the plug with some essays out there, some Northerners. They're going to hook me up. So I'm like, all right, Bodine, jump in, right? And I'm like, let's go to my house. And I told Ricky, follow me. So I told Ricky, let's cruise in your shit. So he said, whooping, I don't got gas money. I barely had enough to get it. I said, I got it. Let's go. So we got Bodine in the back. Ricky's driving, unfortunately, right? He's driving like this. Like it's a fucking motorcycle. And I'm right there in the passenger seat. We're cruising though. He got those beat. I'm like, I'm proud of my cousin. Like he's doing it, right? So that's, I guess that Social Security did work. And we get to fucking Stockton, right? Bodine jumps off, man. This motherfucker went in there and laid some people down. This motherfucker came running out like, hurry up, blood. Hurry up on Kumi. Right? I'm like, you ain't in prison no more, motherfucker. You ain't no Kumi. We get up out of there, right? This fool had like 4 pounds of weed and some other stuff, right? And he's like, here, he's distributing. Ricky's like, what? But I came over here, I got weed. I'm shut up, right? So he hooks us up. He's like, hey, come back through tomorrow. We'll pull another leg. I'm like, hey, bro, we're just supposed to give you a ride. What's going on with this? He's like, nah, fuck that, man. Pull up, right? So the next day, I go to his pad, right? Now, I had never seen his. I didn't even know he had a house. I thought he was just a homeless brother out there smoking A1. Like, I never known. I pull up to this house, and he tells me, hey, it's in the Lofbro area going out towards the lake, right? So I go out there. This motherfucker lived in like a 3-bedroom house. Nice, though. 2-story, right? Big old master bedroom. I'm like, what? Bodine said, y'all motherfuckers thought I was off crack cocaine? Motherfucker, I was out there selling all the crack cocaine. I was like, nah, motherfucker, you used to be on it. I watched you with my own eyes. He said, you got to test the product. I said, no, never get high on your own supply. He said, well, my supply was yours, right? He was crazy. Anyways, man, we're going to get to part 2 tomorrow. I'm going to tell you what happens when we get to his house and who he had up in there because it was different. With that being said, man, I'm going to get to more of these different ethnicities. So I understand the brothers are feeling some type of way like, hey, Gun, when you going to fuck with us? I got you, man. I got you. Tomorrow, I really got you. With that being said, thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people. Oh, if you think Ricky wasn't playing when it came to Bodine. They had some adventures. We going to get to them. Bang, bang.